And happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to Base. I got a cop sitting right next to me, and he's got a story to tell. It's been 40-plus years since the Watergate break-in, but do we really know the whole story? Our first guest is here to fill in some of the blanks. A San Francisco cop turned FBI special agent who was there the day the Bureau took over the White House. From the gritty days on the streets of San Francisco to Pennsylvania Avenue, he chronicles it all in his book, In Pursuit. Let's say hi to retired FBI agent John Minderman. How are you, John?
Good to be here, Frank.
Good to have you here, sir. Well, let's talk. It's been 40 years. You've been out of the Bureau for a number of years. Why write the book now?
The real story of the Watergate involved the heavy, consistent presence of the FBI. There are about a half a dozen of us who had the case from the beginning to the end. There were many adventures in literally pursuit of trying to get to the truth. Those adventures, the twists and turns, the drama, the challenge, the threats, never had been told from an insider standpoint. So I debated, and none of the other agents had told the story. So I finally said, well, I'm going to write this story. I had told the story a bit to groups that I had addressed, and they said, you need to really write that up. And I mixed in some of the rather adventuresome police encounters I had as an officer here in the 60s. So I mixed those together with the Watergate, and that was the book.
Okay, well, let's fast forward. Phone call comes into the Bureau. You're on that night, and you guys are storming the White House. What was that like?
That was an utter and complete shock. About a year and a half into the case, we were abruptly summoned to the Special Agent in Charge's office and ordered by him to go to the White House on a Friday afternoon about 5:30, enter the White House without the complete permission of the Secret Service, and take over all the business offices of the White House, including the president's personal office, and ensure that no one took any papers or any data in or out of any of those offices. And so we entered the White House not knowing whether we really had the permission of the Secret Service. So it was very tense. We were waving our FBI credentials, saying, hey, come on, it's the FBI.
What's this all about, guys? Right.
We didn't know how tense they were. So,
and the president was not. He was at Camp David.
He was at Camp David.
He shows up Monday.
He shows up Monday, and he's very, very upset.
Right.
And as he tours around the White House and he sees the agents standing in front of the doors and prohibiting him and his aides and his men and women from coming in, he comes to one agent, and he comes up and he says, This is unnecessary. These men are not criminals. And he grabs the agent here by the lapels, and he slams the agent up against the door, and he shakes the agent. And of course, the agent, I mean, what do you do when you're grabbed and muscled by the President of the United States?
No kidding. You
stand there and take it. So the agent stood there and took it, and he was slammed back and forth for a little bit, and then the President moved on. What was very, very interesting, though, and I think it speaks well of President Nixon, he came back about 2 or 3 hours later, about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and no one was around except that same agent standing in front of the door doing what he should do. And President Nixon came up to him and personally apologized for his behavior.
Did you know right then and there, just days into that his days were likely numbered, and what you guys were doing was
absolutely. The key in the case really came fairly early on. Another agent, Paul Magalinas, had done an absolutely superb job in working with and contacting members who worked at the Committee to Re-elect the President, which was really kind of the core umbrella group that supported the break-in. And Paul had developed a couple of sources in there, and he and I then went and interviewed a woman by the name of Judy Hoback, who was the actual auditor and controlled the money and dispersed thousands of dollars in cash. And that interview I have in the book, and the importance of it. It was about an 8-hour interview from 7 at night till 3 in the morning. Then it took us another 8 or 10 hours to get everything together in proper format. But that interview kind of broke everything open and established a credible witness who could talk about dispersing the funds to support the break-in.
Well, we're running out of time, but a lot of people say the Washington Post really broke this, but you would disagree.
I would disagree slightly in that we were ahead of the post by 2 or 3 months. They kind of followed in our tracks. They did an excellent job, thoroughly deserved the Pulitzer Prize that they eventually got, and the great book, All the President's Men, and movie. So I take nothing away from them, but we were ahead by about 3 or 4 months. And that's exactly where the FBI should be.
And in 10 seconds, reaction from some of you, maybe your fellow bureau
Actually pretty positive.
Yeah.
On the police side, a little bit more mixed.
I bet. Well, we didn't even get into that, some of your gritty days on the streets of San Francisco, but the book is terrific. Really, it's an eye-opener. John, thanks for coming in.
Thank you, sir.
San
Appreciate
Francisco,
being here.
Man Done Well. We appreciate you coming in. If you'd like more information about John's book, In Pursuit, you can go to John's website, johnminderman.com. Once again, John Minderman, that's 2 N's, in theman.com. Back with more Bay Sunday right after the break. Stay there, folks.